Hi everybody, and welcome to another installment of Mego Museum's Vintage Mego. Seeing as it's a new year and it feels like we're in the future, I thought we'd go to the 25th century this week and look at a piece from Buck Rogers in the 25th century, one of my favorite Mego toy lines. But this is not one of my favorite pieces. This is one of the weirdest things that Mego did for the line. I'm talking, of course, about the Buck Rogers in the 25th century Star Searcher. Now, this isn't the vehicle that was the setting for Season 2 that was piloted by Captain Ivan Asimov. No, this is very obvious rebranding of the Micronauts Star Defender vehicle from the aforementioned Micronauts toy line. I think I know what happened here, so I'll give a little bit of a backstory. Now, in the late 1970s, Mego tried their hand at the sci-fi craze with a few licenses that did not do well. The Star Trek The Motion Picture, which I've discussed here at length, and The Black Hole. They were both somewhat disappointing for Mego. However, the one, pearl in that oyster would be the Buck Rogers line, which sold very well for Mego. And this was largely due to the series. The weekly series was like a commercial for the toy line, and children really seemed to gravitate towards the show. I, in particular, remember being just infatuated with it. I thought it was a fantastic program. So while Mego invested heavily in the movie and the vehicles, which luckily were in the series themselves, when the TV series rolled around, Mego's planned extensions were somewhat cautious, let's just say, and all involved reused molds from other lines, mainly Micronauts and Star Trek. Some of the best examples would be the Micronauts Rail City being called the Buck Rogers Starbase, the Star Trek communicators rebranded as Buck Rogers communicators, and that gun. My goodness, every toy line had that stupid white electronic gun. The Draconian command base was a Micronauts strata station done up in black and tan to look like the Draconians. The Star Shuttle was the Micronauts Astro Station, repurposed, and it was in a yellow paint scheme. And most famously, the Draconian Fortress, which is the Star Trek Mission to Gamma 6 playset. This kind of makes sense. It would be a perfect playset for 3 3/4 inch figures, but nobody bit. None of this stuff got made. However, the one item that's actually not in this catalog did get made in the form of the Star Searcher. It's a curious piece. There is absolutely no documentation for it. As we investigate the contents of the box, I'll give you my theory on this, why it got made. First of all, I'm not going to put this together. It's all nicely packed in here, and I can just simply post a picture of what the vehicle looked like. There's no paint color or variation to this. The stickers are absolutely the same from the Micronauts. And as we explore inside the box, you'll see there's Micronauts paraphernalia and instructions. There is an instruction sheet for the Micronauts Star Defender in here with a catalog, and then on top of that is a instruction sheet for the Buck Rogers Star Searcher. The exact same vehicle has 2 instructions. I think the reason that is at that time, the late 1970s, some of the Micronaut pieces, they'd been out in the market for a while, and they weren't turning as fast as before. What I think this was a way for Mego to sell some of this overstock Micronaut items using the Buck Rogers brand, which was a popular hit television show at the time. So basically what I think they did is they just created a new box and an instruction sheet and repackaged some of the Micronaut items under this new name. I don't know how well it worked. This is a pretty rare item to find in the secondary market. It always goes for a lot of money, and it's weird because it's kind of a curio. I mean, it's like a completist thing. I think a lot of Buck Rogers collectors actually don't count it and don't want to spend the money, and I don't blame them. I personally didn't own one for years, and I just refused to pay the price tag that most people were asking for it. I mean, it's really not a canon item in the Buck Rogers line. However, I lucked out. There was a collector in Canada selling his, and he didn't want a heck of a lot of money for it and gave me free shipping. So I just went for it, and I'm glad I did, but it is more of a curio than something that I would consider essential to the line. I like the anecdote more than I do the toy itself, even though I really do like the Micronauts vehicles. The biggest tell on this item is the date on the box. Most of the copyrights on the original Buck Rogers series read 1979, and this one reads 1980, so this is an extension, a second wave of Buck Rogers merchandise. Whether or not it's meant to capitalize on the television series Searcher, that's something of there's a cloud of doubt over it, because Mego clearly renamed all of the Micronaut pieces they were trying to sell in that earlier catalog. So it is possible that this is just a fluke or a coincidence. The second season was actually slowed down or delayed by a writer's strike. So I don't think it actually is, but I can't 100% stand by that. I'm terribly fond of the packaging art on the Star Searcher, showing Buck and Wilma manning the vehicle and fighting these very off-model Draconian Marauders, which is odd considering that Mego's model of the Draconian Marauder was extremely faithful to the series. I feel like I've seen this before, maybe in the Gold Key comics, and perhaps the box artist was using that comic as a point of reference. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe somebody can give me a comment whether I'm right or wrong there. I hope you've enjoyed looking into this oddity. Let me know your thoughts on stuff like this in the comments below. You can hit me up at megomuseum.com at our forums. And of course, we have a Facebook group called Mego Mania where we'd love to have you. Thanks again for watching. If you are new to this, please consider hitting like and subscribe. We do vintage Megos every week. Until next time, take care and have fun. And of course, Happy New Year.